Welcome back, everybody. This is Eric Bynum once again coming to you to talk about my research. As I was going through the databases this time, I was looking for some different types of articles dealing with baseball here in Texas. The more I think about, wanting to do a history of baseball here in the state of Texas, particularly in the minor leagues. But it got me to thinking about some other things. One, I found an article about play. It's called "Playing in the Shadows: Texas and Negro League Baseball." Now, this comes from Project Muse, and It got me thinking about the Negro Leagues. And even though there wasn't really any major Negro League teams here in Texas during that time period of the 20s and 30s and 40s and whatnot, there was barnstorming. And if you don't know what barnstorming is, these teams would literally get on buses and barnstorm into town after town after town and play games, and that's how they would raise money. And that led me to another article on Project Muse. Well, sorry, the first one was a book, but the second one was an article from Nine, a journal of baseball history and culture. And it was called Barnstorming Baseball and Bluegrass Music. And so this really got me thinking about, perhaps expanding the baseball history into looking at some of these barnstorming teams that came through Texas during, all the way from, the 20s through, probably the 1950s or so. As minor league baseball started to evolve and really contract after the 1950s. Another one that I found out of the East Texas Historical Journal, which I didn't know was a thing, and so one of the best things about these little projects and doing these videos is finding different sources that I didn't even know existed. So that's one of the things I've bookmarked and I really want to go back and look at. But the article was titled "Southwest Texas Baseball and the National Game." So here we're talking about, I'm sorry, did I say Southwest? Southeast Texas Baseball and the National Game. We're talking about Southeast Texas and baseball there. And I know it's kind of more localized, but it gives a really nice history of, some of the teams and some of the players and things that came through there. As I was doing some research, another thing that kind of hit me was our close proximity in Texas to Latin America. And a lot of the Latin American players that had come through, I think that would be an interesting look at as well, whether it is through the minor leagues, through barnstorming, or whatever the case may be. I think there's a lot of interest there of Latin American players that have come through the system here in Texas. So there's a lot of different angles. I'm really not sure which way I will, eventually go, but I think, having done some of these researches and looking at some of these databases has really kind of opened my eyes to new things and new areas and new ways in which my research could go. So I'm really thankful for that and looking at some of these. And that one about the Southeast Texas baseball, that came from the Oxford Academic Database. So both were really helpful in not only just finding these sources, but opening my eyes to other sources and other avenues in which I could possibly research baseball here in Texas. So I think that's it for today. Hope everybody has a great one. And we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.